I'm saying that we can vote people in and out. Personalities, okay? But my dear, what we need to do in this country is to establish a situation where even if it was the devil who should come and sit on top of us in Ghana, by virtue of certain procedures, certain practices, the devil cannot get away with doing whatever he wants. He would necessarily have to do what the people expect of him.
We've been through the pain of colonialism, and today we're going through colonialism, neo-colonialism. In the sense that what I'm trying to say is that there was a time when we saw the white man, our colonial powers, as our enemies. But I think, no, not that I think, something that is worse than an enemy is a traitor. Yes. And when we won our freedom, some of our countries were led by some of the most noble nationalists, of our time. But at the same time, with the passage of time, some of them became treacherous and rather betrayed our aspirations. In effect, what I'm trying to say is that as bad as an enemy can be, I think something worse than an enemy is a traitor. We've ended up evolving in the process of trying to modernize. We've ended up being westernized to the point where, as I sit here before you, when I wanted to even name my children African names, heroic names, I'm a Catholic. The Catholic Church, or that character, back at home, said, no, I cannot. They'll have to be Catholic names. I mean, those Catholic names are European names. I went through an argument with this priest, and I said, listen, I have a right to my identity. Don't take away my identity. Okay? I mean, Christianize me if you may, but don't westernize me. There were times, my wife and I is a great graphic artist. We made some beautiful Christmas cards that depicted Christmas in an African setting. And the Christmas cards sold so well, even with Catholic nuns, white Catholic nuns. We wanted to secure the patent. I went to an office, the Registrar General's office, to secure the patent. Can you believe that this fellow African, Registrar General, looking at my black personality, black face, told me that, no, I cannot. This was long after independence, and that it's going to take about 3 years. I said, why 3 years? He said, it'll have to go to England. It'll go to England, and it might take about 3 years before I'm granted the right to that patent or whatever it is they register. In other words, in effect, what I'm trying to say is that, so I have no right to even my creativity. I create my own, you take it away from me, and you have to send it to the colonial power. 3 years later, when they have reproduced it, and I have no more right to it. So as an African, when you're talking about democracy, etc., let's put it aside. Let me bring you to the current modern situation. We end up with injustice. We end up with corruption. We end up with poverty. We end up with the worst possible things. We end up with the image. I don't have to tell you the image that you have in Africa. I don't have to tell you. Please, I know the potential of humanity. So when you're talking about the effects of some of these things, sometimes, these superpowers must learn to accommodate and to live and to accept patriotic leadership, patriotic citizens. Too often, they're happier with people who are not patriots. But if the media, especially in America, for instance, could give you both sides of the story as pertains to foreign policies and foreign actions, you will bring so much pressure to bear because you still live in a world with the capacity and the ability to be able to influence your presidents. You can impeach your presidents like in America. So you as a people still have power, unlike us. In Africa, they disempower. Let me just say something. I have a little theory that the world is manipulated. I may be wrong, but the world is manipulated by the multinational corporations, the media, some parts of the media, and the intelligence apparatus. They work as a triumvirate, and they are neatly sandwiched like the ham, like your tomato, whatever it is. They are neatly sandwiched in between the governed people, you, the governed ordinary people, and the governors. That is where the manipulation takes place. And there is a symbiotic relationship between the triumvirate and sometimes at this level. And if we do not make every possible attempt to return morality, when we're talking about the immorality of international politics, the immorality in business ethics is also percolating downwards, and the criminal, corrupt thing that goes on in my world is bad. So the sooner we begin to return, to restore some sense of morality in business ethics, in politics, in the media, intelligence apparatus, with beliefs, conviction that this is wrong, etc. After all, if you're talking about globalization, then please, let the same value, what is good for the goose, let it be good for the gander.
Honorable Dr. Idris Musa Andini.
It is simply humiliating that in the 21st century, our continent finds some of its leaders hounded to the Hague like lamb to the slaughter, while we are supposed to have the capacity to judge our own. We have to leave. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to leave the Hague to those who cannot control their destiny. If Libyans were perceived or seen as being qualified and justified to overthrow the Gaddafi regime in their quest for freedom and justice, why then are they not qualified and good enough to try their own?